we need to talk about a systemic rupture that's happening in the global economy. And look, this isn't some slow-moving market correction. We are talking about a sudden, violent shock to the entire system. Let's just get right into it.
So I want to start with one big question. What would actually happen if a fifth of the world's entire energy supply just vanished? Not slowed down, not got more expensive. What if it just stopped? Because right now, that's exactly what's happening. There's even a code name for it, Operation Epic Fury. We're now 6 days into this thing, and it has already triggered a massive crisis in global energy and trade. We're going to walk through exactly how this is unfolding, step by painful step.
It all starts right here, at one of the most critical arteries of the global economy, the Strait of Hormuz. And let's be crystal clear, this isn't some slowdown. This is a complete shutdown, orchestrated by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps.
And you have to pay attention to the language they're using here. The IRGC hasn't just politely suggested that ships stay away. No, they've issued a direct threat to set ablaze any vessel that even tries to pass. So this isn't a legal closure, this is a military blockade, and it's backed up by a very credible threat of violence.
So let's look at the first ripple effect, because this is where you see how fast things spiral. With the strait totally closed off, the most immediate impact is physical. The actual flow of energy, of goods, it's just been paralyzed. And this number tells you everything you need to know about the scale of this. 20%. Just think about that. A fifth of the world's entire supply of petroleum and natural gas usually passes through that one single narrow waterway. And as of right now, it's at a dead stop. The result of that? Well, it's a massive traffic jam out on the water. We're talking about 3,200 freight ships that are just stuck. They're either idling inside the Persian Gulf or they're anchored outside, just waiting. And this includes hundreds of the world's most important oil tankers. The logistical gridlock is just, it's immense.
And it is so important to understand that this is not just an oil story. I mean, look at what else is trapped on those ships. You've got petrochemicals that we need for manufacturing. You've got nitrogen fertilizers that are absolutely essential for global food production, high-value pharmaceuticals coming out of India, even semiconductors from Asia. The whole supply chain is just seizing up.
So, this is the crucial turning point. The physical blockade, it's now triggering a financial contagion. The crisis is basically going viral, and it's jumping from the sea lanes directly to the stock markets. And the first big domino to fall here is Qatar, which is an absolute giant in the natural gas world. After drone attacks hit their facilities, the state-owned QatarEnergy has now suspended all of its liquefied natural gas exports. Now for Europe, which was already running on dangerously low gas reserves, we're talking just 30%. This is catastrophic.
And they did this by invoking something called Force Majeure. This is a huge deal. It's basically a legal escape clause. They're declaring that because of an unforeseeable event, an act of God, or in this case, an act of war, they are physically unable to fulfill their contracts. The legal and financial chaos this unleashes is just enormous.
And the reaction in Asia, which is so heavily dependent on that energy, well, it was immediate and it was brutal. We saw the biggest crash in South Korea's market since the 2008 financial crisis. And get this, in Pakistan, the market had its largest single-day drop in history. They actually had to halt trading. This is what pure financial panic looks like.
And this right here shows you just how freaked out the markets really are. Normally, in a crisis like this, investors rush to the safety of U.S. government bonds, right? But look, the yields are actually rising. Why? It's because investors are more scared of the massive inflation this energy shock is about to cause than they are of the conflict itself. And at the exact same time, gold is just exploding, hitting insane record highs. The old rulebook is being thrown out the window.
But this rupture doesn't stop at the markets. It keeps spreading. Now it's crippling air travel and some of the world's most critical logistics hubs.
Over 4,000 flights are being canceled every single day. Airspace is just closed over the UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, all these key areas. And this has stranded hundreds of thousands of people. It's granted essential air cargo. The entire regional transportation network is basically offline.
And then it gets worse. Dubai's Jebel Ali port, and we're talking about one of the 10 busiest container ports on the entire planet, has suspended all operations. This isn't a regional problem anymore. This is a direct hit to the very infrastructure of global trade itself.
So the big question is, where do we possibly go from here? Let's take a look at the initial global response and the, well, the pretty stark warning that's coming along with it.
The United States is trying to calm the waters, literally. They've ordered two things. First, they're providing political risk insurance to try and convince ships that it's safe to move. And second, they've authorized the U.S. Navy to start escorting tankers. But you know what? For now, the ship owners, they're still waiting. The risk is just way too high.
Which really brings us to the real question here, doesn't it? Are these little short-term fixes actually enough for a problem of this magnitude? I mean, can you really patch up a severed artery in the global economy with an insurance policy and a few naval escorts?
And in the end, it all comes down to this one single chilling warning from analysts. The clock is ticking. If this blockade holds for just 5 more weeks, the price of Brent crude oil is projected to hit $100 a barrel, and a price like that could very easily trigger a full-blown global recession. So the question now isn't if the world economy will feel this, it's just how deep the damage will be.